The UK's tax system appears to be one of the biggest demotivating factors for people building a decent income and life for themselves in the country. Out of all of the videos that I've published, I've had a lot of comments on the ones where I spoke about working in the UK, and a lot of people spoke about the fact they feel like they're being taxed to death. They feel like the system is not working out for them. And in a lot of cases, this is true. We spoke about the fact that yes, we might have income tax at a set rate and national insurance, but at the same time, think about the other taxes that we have to pay: fuel duty, VAT, and all of these other expenses. But think about the people who really want to make something for themselves. Think about the people who are trying to benefit their lives, and of course, in turn, helping the system, helping the economy. All of these things. These are the people oftentimes who are not rewarded, but actually often punished for their extra labour. Now, I'm perhaps in a unique position to speak about this because not only do I have a part-time job, I actually make the majority of my income from running my own businesses online. And one thing that I've realised from a lot of business owners, especially when you start to actually make it, you are hit with even more taxes, right? And this is not just true for business owners, it's obviously true for people who work long hours, people who try work overtime, then get taxed even more. But I want to speak specifically about business, right? If you build a business and you start to make some money, as I am, the big goal that you're trying to hit, or one of the big visions, is going to be to make 100k in a year, right? Then you've had a six-figure business really, really well. Now, on the current rate, it's entirely possible that this might happen for me in the next 12 months. But here's the thing. If you make more than, I think it's either 85 or 90,000 pounds a year in 12 months, you're expected to pay 20% VAT on all transactions. All of your sales is 20% VAT. So what does that mean? It's going to mean that for a lot of these businesses, they're either going to have to put their prices up by 20%, or they're going to have to take a reduced profit margin of about 20%, which in a business is not insignificant. Now, of course, there are ways that you can make this slightly less. People say if you work with VAT registered businesses and all these things, you can reduce it. But still, think about this. This is not 20% of profits, it's 20% of revenue. And some of you guys who don't know about business, no offense, may be thinking at this point, well, fair enough, you make an awful lot of money if you make six figures, 100k. Not true at all. Six figures in revenue, turnover, is not profit. It's entirely possible that you could be running a six-figure business on paper that brings you in less than minimum wage, less than 10k a year. It's very much possible. You could have a very, very high turnover business with a very low profit margin, and you're still expected to pay 20% on transactions. So obviously you're going to either have to find that from somewhere, again, maybe out of your profit margins, but if you're already making such a small amount, almost impossible. So your business is now either unviable, or you've got to put your prices up by 20%. Now again, working with VAT registered businesses may bring this down slightly, but why is this a question in the first place? People say, well, you can reduce it by... Why is it even a thing? People who make less than 100k from business are small businesses or smaller business. Because like I say, you guys may be mistaken. If you're making 100k revenue, chances are you're making less than 30 to 50,000 pounds. So you're not actually, you're doing all right, but you're not a super, super high earner because you see six figures on paper, right? It's not the case at all. So the people who are trying to build something for themselves, I've seen this in a lot of forums, on a lot of videos, because I'm trying to get some information on this myself, right? In case my business starts to grow to that point, because it's not impossible. Trust me, with the figures that I'm seeing right now, it's entirely possible that could be me soon. And then people speak about the fact that, well, you can reduce... Why is this a thing? I know I've just said that, but this is the biggest point that I want to make on this. These are the people who are trying to boost the economy, trying to build something for themselves, yeah, and all of the extra taxes that they have to pay, income taxes, VAT on their business transactions, and these different other taxes that are not spoken about, like fuel duties, like VAT on things that you buy in shops. This is what demotivates people. I'll give you the other example, which is arguably more difficult, because like I say, I run a business, but I have to admit, most of my work I do at this desk is very, very easy. People who are actually slaving away in a job, doing overtime, 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week, 5 days a week. The more you work in a lot of these jobs, you will get taxed more. You will get taxed significantly more. And I've spoken about this as a concept before. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't understand the system. I'm only 21, right? I don't claim to have any of the answers. I make videos, I share my opinions. I don't claim to be an expert. But would it not possibly just possibly make more sense, or make some sense, for people to not get taxed on overtime. And you might say, why? Well, number one, these are people who are boosting productivity for the country. They're doing more than the average person, right? A business owner is trying harder than the average person. No offense, guys. Somebody who works overtime is trying much, much harder than the average person. They're giving away an awful lot of their time, and they're getting not just not rewarded, but a lot of the time punished as a consequence. It makes no sense. So we're going to have people who don't want to work overtime. Fair enough. I don't blame them. We're going to have people who do not want to either start a business, or what I see a lot of the time is people holding back their small business. You know, it's making, let's say, 75k. It's coming close to that point. But now they're going to be holding back on sales. They're reducing items, or just not selling as much, or at all, because they know that if they cross 85 or 90, they're in trouble, right? So this business that could otherwise scale to maybe, let's say, 600-700k a year, the owners are that scared, and fair enough. They're that scared that they don't want to go over 75, 60, just to chance it, right? They don't want to do it. This is a big problem for the business owners, for the overtime workers, for the average employee even, because there's no real sliding scale of it, right? For example, 20% at 100k is a lot. It's a lot of extra taxes, a lot of revenue even. Why is the government taking that? Just think about that for a second. Why? For these people, if anything, should get tax breaks or lower taxes, because you're building a bit. If you're at 85k, 90k, 100k, you may very well employ someone. You may very well employ multiple people. You probably provide a very good service for your company, your country, your area. And now you're in more trouble for trying to do good for yourself. Again, overtime. You're taxed more. Why are you going to do it? Most people don't want to. And then they wonder why people are that demotivated, because you try and break out of the system just slightly, and this is oftentimes the direct consequences. It's not fair for a lot of people. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people don't appreciate it, and I absolutely don't blame them. And again, then we actually have to add in the extra taxes that we pay. Road tax, for example, just being one of them. The amount of money from your income that goes to the government is substantial. Again, if you run a business, it's very, very possible that you work in multiple months of your year to pay your taxes. Multiple months go straight to the government for you coming and doing something big for yourself in the world of business, in the world of building a name, in the world of building a brand. You could have a big, big business here that a lot of people then hold back on because the tax system is that negative for them. Now, like I say, guys, maybe I'm wrong. Clear me up on this if I am. I want some advice, I want some information, some insight. Let me know down in the comment section. But this is just what I see and hear. You know, not just in forums, the internet, social circles, but everywhere. Business owners, small business owners, do not get the best conditions. Overtime workers do not get the best pay or rewards for their work. These, again, I just want to emphasize this. These are the people who add the most into the system, in productivity, in ideas, in contributions as a whole. It's crazy.